In the year 20XX, life in Seoul, South Korea seemed completely normal, but the peace people thought would last forever was about to be broken. Suddenly, in the city, something strange started happening in the sky. That peace was completely shattered by the appearance of a dungeon. People on the street looked up in fear as this dark rift appeared above them. The folks on the street were shocked and scared, wondering what this mysterious event was. This unexpected disaster came out of nowhere, and soon a scary creature emerged. Monstrous figures with horns and glowing eyes started coming out. A countless number of these monsters poured out of the dungeon, causing everyone to panic and run. People screamed in terror as the monsters cornered all of humanity in fear. A woman fell down in the chaos, desperately trying to avoid being stepped on. One of the scary green monsters raised a large axe, ready to strike. The axe was coming down towards the helpless woman, but just when despair hit, a glimmer of hope appeared. A swift, bright blue energy stopped the monster's attack. It was the work of powerful people. A surprised woman looked on as the fight happened. These powerful fighters, called hunters, were battling the monsters fiercely. When these hunters managed to kill the monsters, valuable resources appeared. These resources were what made humanity start to prosper again. The scene showed brave hunters, with one holding a shining sword in front, ready to face a massive, glowing yellow entity. That is how the world of hunters began. The narrator says, in IO4 we see a quiet office for the Hunter Association registration, where people wait for their turn. Staff member at the desk looks at someone and says it's the first time she has seen someone with the laborer class. She addresses him as Mr. Yoo-jiha and asks if it's true that he has no skills or traits. Yoo-jiha smiles faintly and confirms that he did not get any special abilities. He gives a small, awkward laugh about his situation. The scene changes to show a bright, clear sky above the city buildings, featuring the title of the story. Next, we see the sign for the Seoul Sector 7 Hunter Store. A couple enters the store and the store owner greets them warmly. The store owner, Yoo-jiha, stands ready behind the counter. The woman excitedly tells him they came to get some potions, and then points out that he is the one with the laborer class, asking how he hunts without skills. The man with the couple tells the woman to stop wasting time, but she defends herself by saying it's okay to be curious. Yoo-jiha smiles awkwardly as the couple argues, and the man apologizes, saying his partner doesn't know how to read the room. Yoo-jiha reassures them that it's okay and she didn't say anything wrong, while holding a basket of red potions. Yoo-jiha explains that he doesn't hunt and just gathers resources from the rear areas after guilds clear out the dungeons. The woman seems satisfied with his answer, but the man tells her to stop asking questions and wasting time. The woman insists that being curious is fine, while outside, military vehicles and ambulances rush by. More noise is heard outside, suggesting a major event. The man mentions hearing about a rank 3 dungeon opening and seeing ambulances, saying he wants to try that too. But the woman tells him their skills are not good enough and his talk is annoying. The man becomes quiet, looking at Yoo-jiha with a blank expression. Yoo-jiha watches the couple leave, thinking to himself about the rank 3 dungeon. Yoo-jiha bows politely to the departing couple, wishing them to take care. He then wonders if there would be many resources in a rank 3 dungeon, but knows they won't contact him for such a dangerous place. It has been 5 years since Yoo-jiha awakened with the unique class laborer. He looks at his status window, which seems to reflect his status as a laborer. He sadly notes that he got no skills or traits, so he couldn't even dream of fighting inside a dungeon with other hunters. Because of this, his plan was to wait for companies or guilds to clear a dungeon and then collect the leftovers. He admits that nobody really recognizes his hard work. However, this collecting work is enough to support his only hobby, reading old books. He flips through the pages of an ancient-looking book. Yoo-jiha sits at his desk, engrossed in reading. He yawns loudly, feeling very tired from reading. He wonders if the book is too difficult to read, feeling extremely sleepy. Yoo-jiha eventually passes out on his desk. As he sleeps, a bright green energy starts swirling around him and his open book. The energy gets stronger, creating a bright, tree-like illusion in the air. The light fills the space around him. He suddenly seems to be in a quiet forest with thick fog, where leaves drift down. Yoo-jiha wakes up suddenly, feeling startled in this strange new place. He jumps up, looking around confusedly, asking where he is. He looks down and realizes he is standing alone in a vast, green forest. He pinches himself, realizing that this experience is definitely not a dream. He wonders if it's an illusion and decides to check his status window. Checking his status, he concludes, I don't see anything special, but then notices the surrounding forest is strange. He focuses on the environment, noting the lack of normal animal sounds. The thick fog prevents him from seeing very far. What he can see clearly are some damaged tree twigs with strange fruit, looking like they were hit by a storm. He sees several golden, bud-like fruits on strange, thin stems, and he says he has never seen fruit like this before as he bends down to look closer. When he focuses on one of the glowing fruits, a system window pops up, identifying it as Ether Herb LV.1. The description says it makes ether consumption for all skills 0 for 10 seconds, making Ujiha wonder if this plant description is real. He thinks this effect is amazing because ether is the fuel for skills. He holds the herb and reflects on ether, which hunters need to use any skill. The system confirms ether is like fuel, and the amount used depends on skill strength, making him exclaim, "This is amazing." He wishes he could extract the liquid from the herb, but regrets not bringing any bottles. He then spots a lively leaf on a nearby tree that looks unnaturally wrecked. He worries it might die if left like that, so he decides he is going to help it a little. He kneels down and touches the small plant, pouring some energy into it. He is relieved that there is water nearby to help nourish it. He hopes the water is enough to keep the little plant alive, and then a system notification pops up. He instantly obtains the plant amiability LV.1 skill, the blessing of XXX LV.1 skill, and the plant amiability LV.1 trait. Ujiha is shocked to have gained both a skill and a trait just by planting a twig, stating this never happened in 5 years. As this happens, the old, wrecked tree trunk he saw earlier begins to glow brightly at its roots. The glowing roots spread out intensely beneath the earth, showing a massive surge of power. Ujiha looks on in disbelief, thinking it's impossible that the old tree is reacting this way. He stares in shock as the massive old tree starts disappearing. Ujiha stands facing the spot where the great tree was, now glowing with bright light. The light fades quickly, and he is instantly back in his shop. He looks around in shock, exclaiming what, then wonders if he actually came back. He sits back at his counter, concluding that the whole forest experience must have been a dream. He sighs, thinking that the experience felt so real, yet it must have been just a dream. As he touches his face near his eye, he sees some dirt on his hand, making him question if it was real. He looks at his dirty hands in utter surprise, realizing that it was not a dream after all. He looks back at the old book on his desk, which now shows a vibrant image of a large, healthy tree, confirming his incredible experience. The man looks at his hands, surprised to see them covered in dirt. He wonders if he has been sleepwalking, as there is no dirt near him in his locked room. He gets an idea that maybe he goes to that forest in his sleep, which seems to be a dungeon now that the fog has cleared a bit. He decides he must try this out to see if his sleepwalking leads him to this place. He clenches his fist, confirming he was indeed outside, and the chapter title appears. Suddenly, a bright light shines in the forest area, indicating something is happening. He exclaims that, as he thought, he is in the same forest from before. He pauses, noticing something strange about the forest layout. The area looks wider than before, and he realizes this must be a dungeon he enters when he is asleep, something he has never heard of. He kneels down near a glowing plant and looks closely, asking in confusion, "Huh?" He realizes that the glowing fruit he is looking at is a solar apple level 1, which increases healing when mixed with a health potion. He is shocked, recognizing the solar apple, which is rare even in high-ranked dungeons. He recalls that a health potion is common but gives very little healing, about 10% of maximum health. Others are shown being amazed by the effect of combining items, suggesting this solar apple boosts healing by 20% and reduces duration. He looks at the branch with the apple, thinking about the great potential of these materials. He realizes there are many solar apples around, not just 1 or 2. He stands up, surveying the abundance of these rare materials in the forest. He thinks that if he can collect the solar apples and eat the herb liquid, he can create a potion with amazing effects. He wonders if he can take just 1 or 2, maybe stuffing them in his clothes. Suddenly, something hits his face, making him exclaim in shock about what that was, realizing it might be a pouch. A dimensional pouch falls from the sky, and he wonders if he can sell the items from this place at the general store. He notices the pouch even has some bottles inside, confirming it's useful. He laughs a bit nervously, feeling both shocked and a little scared that a pouch just appeared right when he was thinking about how to carry things. He decides he has everything he needs and will test if he can actually take the items with him before moving on. The next day, the scene shifts to a famous hunter specialty store in Seoul called Hunting Ground. Inside, people are pushing each other, and one hunter is angrily shouting that they are out of paralysis resistance potions and demands the manager be called. The manager apologizes, saying they have too many bookings and the potion is still being prepared, but the hunter needs it in 30 minutes for a dungeon entry. The manager tries to contact other places, finding out even the famous witch's cauldron is out of stock, while another person mentions contacting Pyramid. Someone mentions that woman, which leads to the reveal of the imposing figure of Seo Hyejin, the Sword Witch. Seo Hyejin, looking serious and clad in impressive armor, enters the store. She coldly asks for the manager, as she arrived personally because they weren't answering her calls, and onlookers notice her rare Tier 4 dungeon artifacts. The onlookers whisper about her being the 12th ranked hunter, making her high-end gear understandable, as the manager nervously greets her. The manager, clearly intimidated, apologizes for not having the potion ready, stating they have many bookings. Seo Hyejin firmly states she can't wait as she must enter the dungeon in 30 minutes, demanding an update on her potion. The manager insists they are still preparing it, but she refuses to wait, needing it immediately for her dungeon run. Hyejin checks her phone, looking for general stores nearby. Meanwhile, the man from the forest is seen holding a flask with a yellowish liquid, confirming he has the purified water, Undyne's tears, and ether herb liquid. He then adds the solar apple concentrate and starts mixing it. The ingredients flow through a coil apparatus into a flask for the final process. The mixture in the flask glows brightly with a strong yellow energy, indicating a powerful reaction. A system notification appears, stating that due to XXX's blessing LV1, a great success verdict was applied, and he acquired the alchemy LV. The system then shows the details of the special potion LV1, 0 ether consumption for 14 seconds and 14% health recovery over 15 seconds. He is astonished, realizing that even self-proclaimed alchemists don't get an alchemy skill, and the effects are incredible. He wonders about the XXX's blessing that made the potion so potent, and then thinks about whether he should sell it, unsure of the price. He thinks nobody would believe him if he claimed a potion could completely stop ether consumption for 14 seconds, so he decides to test it first. Just as he decides to test it, Seo Hyejin enters the shop, and he greets her politely. The man, holding the finished potion, is asked by Hyejin if he has potions, as she is in a rush and needs one right away. He confirms it's a health potion, but before he can explain the effects, she grabs the flask. Hyejin, focused, asks what the effects are, looking intensely at the potion. He starts to say it's not for sale, but realizing his time is up, she interrupts him, taking the potion. She pays him, saying if the amount isn't enough, he can contact her guild, and then leaves quickly. The man watches her leave in a hurry, impressed by how fast a rank 12 hunter moves. The manager watches her leave and comments that they can't do anything about her demanding nature. The manager explains that the old Seo Hyejin used to ask them to join her dungeon dives, but after that incident, she became a complete solo player. The other hunter asks about the incident, and the manager replies he wouldn't know because he's a newbie. Suddenly, chaos erupts, and someone yells for everyone to run. Seo Hyejin is seen preparing for a fight, surrounded by glowing blue energy and summoning swords. The attack strikes down large, dark, rat-like monsters with glowing red eyes. The monster is described as being huge and dangerous due to extreme poison, and Hyejin is bracing herself for the next attack. The fight continues intensely in the forest. Hyejin finishes off the monsters that were blocking the path. The two newbie hunters are amazed by rank 12 power, but one notes that it feels wrong that she fights alone and suggests they should improve their skills too. The other hunter tells him not to bother the sword witch and to quietly gather resources from the defeated monsters. The first hunter agrees, understanding that Hyejin has become a solo player since that incident. The second hunter asks what that incident was, and the first one says he wouldn't know since he is a newbie. As the newbies discuss, the powerful sword witch is still facing the huge man-stalker monster. Hyejin is shocked to see the aversion level monster, which should only be in grade 4 dungeons. The two newbies realize they are in deep trouble. The massive man-stalker monster looms over Hyejin, ready to attack. The newbie wonders why such a dangerous monster is appearing here and realizes they are done for. Hyejin uses a powerful blue-tinged skill, telling the others to run away as she buys them time. She launches a massive attack with her sword skill. The attack connects with the monster. The sword witch is engulfed in a fierce magical battle against the giant creature. The monster seems momentarily stunned by her powerful strike. The powerful sword attack cuts through the monster with intense force. The monster reels back from the strong blow. The man-stalker roars in pain as Hyejin continues her assault. The monster is thrown back, coughing out, while Hyejin realizes the monster is too strong. She admits to herself that the monster is too strong, even though she landed a hit. She faces the monster again, feeling her ether draining quickly. She knows her remaining energy is only enough to buy a little time for the others to escape, who are running away screaming. One of the escaping men thinks about their missing companion, Seun Hyuk Appa. He imagines Seun Hyuk standing strong, glowing in a blue light, holding a golden sword. The man realizes that Seun Hyuk is not with them anymore and that she can only rely on herself and the potion. Seo Hyejin drinks the yellow potion she bought from the shop, determined to fight. She gulps down the entire contents of the flask. She is surprised, finding the potion tastes more like a delicious beverage than a regular potion. Suddenly, she feels like she is overflowing with ether and her armor starts to shine brightly. Filled with this new power, her eyes glow with intense focus, readying for battle. She declares that with this power, she can fight the monster. Hyejin charges forward, unleashing a skill called Powerful Sword Rampage against the giant man-stalker. The skill activates, showing a flurry of bright cyan energy blades. The energy blades crisscross the monster's body in the dark surroundings. The monster struggles against the barrage of powerful slashes. Hyejin maneuvers swiftly through the attacks, delivering more powerful blows. The man-stalker lets out a pain sound as the glowing attack hits its face. Hyejin watches as the monster stumbles back. She is shocked, realizing the potion's effect, not only health recovery, but zero ether consumption. She realizes that thanks to the potion, she could use her powerful sword rampage for 10 seconds instead of the usual 3 seconds. She looks at the empty, glowing potion vial on the ground, realizing all this incredible power came from that shop's potion. The scene cuts back to the man who sold the potion, happily drinking another flask in his lab, making the viewer wonder what kind of shop this really is. The scene opens outside a modern apartment building under a bright, light blue sky. Someone rings the bell of a door, which has some fancy metal designs on it. A customer, a woman in armor named Seo Hyejin, looks very angry as she confronts the shopkeeper, Yoo Jiha, who is holding a basket of items. Seo Hyejin shouts at Yoo Jiha, making the other people nearby look shocked. Yoo Jiha nervously welcomes the angry customer, thinking to himself that this customer is always angry, and Hyejin immediately asks about the potion he sold her. Hyejin gets very close to Yoo Jiha, demanding to know about the potion, while nearby people gossip about how Hyejin took care of a swarm of man-stalkers by herself. Hyejin looks slightly downcast as the onlookers whisper about her achievements, and she seems to calm down a little. The onlookers apologize for being rude, and Yoo Jiha assures Hyejin that he is okay, then asks if there was actually a problem with his potion. Hyejin confirms there was a problem, explaining that she has never seen a potion that heals 14% of her HP and costs no ether. Yoo Jiha, happy about the effect, mentions he saw a post about her eliminating an aversion monster by herself. A quick flashback shows Hyejin in action, taking down a monster, and Yoo Jiha exclaims how amazing that is. Hyejin quickly insists it was not her, but the potion he gave her, and then demands to know where he got it or if he brewed it himself. Yoo Jiha hesitates for a moment, then shows her an item he used. He presents a glowing, golden fruit, and Hyejin looks surprised, questioning what the item is. Yoo Jiha explains it is a solar apple, which he luckily found in a Tier 0 dungeon. Hyejin is stunned that a solar apple came from a Tier 0 dungeon and wonders if it is that common, while Yoo Jiha internally decides to make up excuses rather than tell her about the forest. Yoo Jiha tells Hyejin he is happy the potion helped her and explains that the potion was an ice resistance potion. Hyejin asks what the effect of the potion is, and Yoo Jiha explains it grants ice resistance. Hyejin then asks about the duration of the effect while holding one of the light blue potions. Yoo Jiha says he thinks it gives 32% ice resistance and lasts for 40 minutes, which shocks Hyejin. Hyejin exclaims in disbelief, pointing out that the best ice resistance potion on the market only gives 10% resistance and lasts for just 15 minutes. She is utterly shocked that his potion gives 32% resistance for 40 minutes and demands to know where he found the materials for it. Yoo Jiha pauses, then flashes back to finding Winter Strawberry Level 1 in the forest, which gives 20% ice resistance for 30 minutes. The flashback shows him in a lush green forest, collecting the glowing blue winter strawberries into his basket. After collecting the strawberries, another system notification appears as he performs an alchemy action. The scene shifts to him brewing the potion, and a system message confirms he has acquired alchemy level 2's skill. Back in the shop, Hyejin looks skeptical as Yoo Jiha vaguely says he found the ingredients at the Tier 0 dungeon. Hyejin thinks he is a bad liar but decides not to press further because he looks uncomfortable, instead telling him to sell all the potions to her. Yoo Jiha is surprised that she wants all of them, and Hyejin confirms she will pay all in cash and doesn't need a receipt. Hyejin pushes a thick stack of cash towards him, exclaiming that it is much more than the potions are worth. reminding him he gave her extra last time too. Hyojin insists the money is still not enough for potions of that quality. Yujiha agrees, then asks for her name, saying he will see her next time. He confirms his name is Yujiha, and Hyojin smiles, saying it is a nice name. Hyojin gives a friendly farewell, saying she will see Yujiha next time. The chapter title card appears, showing the name the gardener in a hunter world. Yujiha is back in the forest, deciding that it is time for him to gather more materials, saying that's it. As he looks at the dense trees, he lays out the glowstones, kindlegems, and winter strawberries he has collected, noting that the winter strawberries need refilling, and remembers that Ms. Hyojin took all of his stock last time. Yujiha sits down, surprised that there are glowstones and kindlegems in this area, noting there are so many resources in this forest without any monsters present. He looks up into the clear sky, wondering where exactly he is. A rustling sound draws his attention to the grass nearby. Yujiha turns his head, startled, asking what that sound was. He realizes he didn't hear wrong and that something is definitely around here, so he starts cautiously walking forward. Yujiha stares ahead with wide eyes, seeing something in the distance. A small, cute beetle-like monster with large claws appears before him. A system box identifies the creature as a pterodrone, a mythic monster described as small and car-sized. But Yujiha wonders why they are moving so hastily, noting they are smaller than expected. He observes the small pterodrones contained behind a hexagonal barrier, realizing they are much smaller than the description suggests and that he cannot pass the barrier. Touches the glowing hexagonal wall, confirming he is trapped on one side and wonders where the others are rushing off to. The scene transitions to a dark, ominous area where large ants with glowing red eyes are visible. The system identifies the attackers as devil ants, hazard monsters the size of cargo trucks, whose strength lies in attracting more ants when one is killed. Yujiha, still observing from behind the barrier, recognizes the devil ants and notes something is off about the pterodrones and devil ants' sizes compared to the book description. He watches the small pterodrones fighting the much larger devil ants, who seem to be gaining the upper hand. The pterodrones and devil ants are clashing fiercely, and Yujiha recalls reading about devil ants before. He remembers that devil ants are hazard monsters, and the potion he gave Hyojin might actually make them more dangerous than the aversion monsters she fought. He sees the pterodrones struggling against the menacing devil ants. Yujiha notes that the pterodrones are losing the fight and wonders what they are fighting for, as the devil ants seem much more powerful than described. A large devil ant lunges at a pterodrone, while the pterodrone seems terrified. The pterodrone cries out in fear as it gets hit. The small pterodrones are clearly losing to the giant devil ants, and Yujiha wonders why they are fighting and what they are fighting over. He worries that the pterodrones are going to lose like this and asks if there is any way he can help them. A large system prompt appears, announcing that a war between his pterodrones and the devil ants has begun, and asking if he wants to help his legion. Yujiha is surprised, realizing he can intervene somehow, and decides, let's help them. The system informs him his legion is losing right now and that he can use his essence to cast an area buff. The options for buffs are listed, including increasing HP, poison resistance, physical resistance, or using the laborer's blessing, which costs 2 essence. Yujiha thinks he cannot help directly, but he can use these essence buffs. He realizes he possesses items that look like essence, holding up a golden crystalline object. He remembers he happened to have 2 of these items, and he decides option 4, Laborer's Blessing, seems like the best choice. Yujiha activates the buff, shouting, "Let's go with Laborer's Blessing," as a bright yellow light envelops him. The pterodrones are bathed in the golden light of the buff. One pterodrone looks determinedly at the camera, while the other looks surprised by the sudden power boost. The bright effect continues as the battle resumes below. The devil ants are hit hard by the sudden surge of power, sending them flying back. The pterodrones seem empowered and ready to fight back. A large blue energy wave sweeps through the area, impacting the devil ants. Several devil ants are caught in the powerful blue wave and scattered. A pterodrone lands a strong blow on a devil ant with the effect of the buff. The pterodrones appear to be pushing back the massive devil ants effectively now. The devil ants are seen defeated and scattered, while the pterodrones stand victorious over the remains. Yujiha exclaims in amazement that they got them all. He grins widely, thinking how crazy and unbelievable the sight was. The pterodrones celebrate around the defeated devil ants, and Yujiha thanks them for protecting the forest, saying good work. He looks down at the celebrating pterodrones with a gentle smile. Yujiha looks around, confused, and then asks, "HM?" as a system notification appears. He sees piles of essence and essence stones on the ground and asks the pterodrones if they are giving all of this to him. One pterodrone looks hesitant and starts to say, "Thank you," but a system message confirms he acquired 5 essences and 5 essence stones as the golden glowing stones float around him. Ujiha tells them that they fought with their lives, and this much is good enough for him. He notices that the strange hexagonal wall that had trapped him is now gone. Ujiha stands up straight, looking out into the now clear forest area. He observes that the strange fog that was present earlier is also gone. Clutches one of the essence stones and reflects that he was only planning to stay for a short while today. Ujiha smiles happily, concluding that he guesses he will not be going back for a while now. After Dungeons and Hunters appeared, a special online community for hunters called the HunterNet was made. Right now, everyone on the HunterNet is talking about someone special. That someone is Hunter Rank 12, the Sword Witch CEO Hyejin. People are discussing if Hyejin really defeated the man-stalker all by herself, but many doubt it could be done without help. They know the dungeon entry records don't lie, making it hard to believe she went completely solo. It is said that Hyejin has been a solo player ever since Han Soon-hyuk disappeared. Some people on the forum wish Hyejin would forget about him, saying she can't miss Soon-hyuk forever. Others defend her, saying that her partner disappeared in the dungeon, so she can mourn as long as she wants, even after 3 years. It has also been 3 years since she started searching for him in the dungeons. Someone finally tells the others to stop talking about a missing person unless they are CEO Hyejin herself, getting angry at the disrespectful comments. CEO Hyejin, who is typing on her computer, stops and seems slightly agitated by the comments. She looks up, annoyed, asking if the person staring at her is like a zombie, telling him it is not good for his eyes to be in the dark so much. A man named Choi Chulhyun, a top alchemist from the Eternal Flame Guild, has entered the room. He calmly says that he concentrates better in the dark while stretching his arms. Then Hyejin asks if he looked into the person she asked him to check. Chulhyun confirms he went to check on the lowest rank hunter with no traits, Ujiha, in person. He explains that he didn't feel anything special from Jiha, suggesting he is not connected to Hyejin getting stronger. However, Chulhyun mentions that Jiha was selling something quite special. He asks Hyejin if she knows what a solar apple is. Hyejin seems to recognize the name as Chulhyun shows her an image of the glowing fruit. Chulhyun explains that the solar apple drastically reduces ether usage, and he had never seen one before. The main issue is that Jiha was selling a potion made from it for a very cheap price. Hyejin thinks that if the apple is real, it can't possibly be that cheap, leading them to 2 possible conclusions about the seller. Chulhyun states that one assumption is that the seller, Ujiha, simply doesn't know the value of the solar apple. If that's not the case, Hyejin concludes with a smirk that he must be a person without any greed. Hyejin then decides to go see him herself, saying she needed some fresh air anyway. As Hyejin stands up, Chulhyun asks if he should get the car ready for her. Hyejin refuses, saying she is not like a CEO and that it is too much fuss. Chulhyun insists, though, that she is in a similar powerful position despite her protests. This reveals that Hyejin is Cha Hwayan, the guild master of Eternal Flame. The scene quickly changes to a bright, misty forest area with the title card for the gardener in a hunter world displayed. The focus shifts to Ujiha sitting by a small campfire deep in the lush, green forest. Jiha comments that it is definitely colder the deeper one goes into the forest. He is glad he remembered to bring a lyre, and with that, the wall and fog that previously blocked the inner forest disappeared. After the fog lifted, Jiha looked around but noticed there wasn't a big difference in the surroundings. He then realizes that he hadn't explored this area fully before. A dark, ominous purple energy seems to linger in the deep forest area he is looking into. Jiha feels that the area where the purple energy is coming from seems too dangerous. He decides he doesn't want to put himself in danger and tells himself it is time to head back. As he prepares to leave, he suddenly pauses, noticing something. He sees several small, cute-looking beetle creatures approaching him, recognizing them as the pterodrones from before. The pterodrones appear small and somewhat pitiful, huddled together. Jiha notices they are holding something labeled mischasing flower seeds and wonders if the flower is meant to get rid of fog. He then asks the pterodrones if the seeds are for him, noting that one of them seems a little bigger than the others. Jiha asks the slightly bigger pterodrone if it is their leader, observing it seems a bit different. Jiha quickly realizes that these creatures came from that ominous place he was sensing earlier. Jiha looks startled as the pterodrones present their offer. A system message appears, stating that the pterodrones requested him to rescue their queen and asks if he wants to accept the quest. Ji muses that they must have a queen, similar to ants or bees, and then connects the mischasing flower seeds to this request. He agrees to help, saying they protected the forest, so he will do what he can. Ji tells the little pterodrone leader that he is a bit scared but will help, though he needs to prepare some things first, suggesting they start tomorrow. The next day begins, and the scene shows various items being prepared, including the healing potion. He prepares a healing potion and a poison resistance potion. He also packs a combat ration. With all his basic preparations done, Jihe is seen with the pterodrones again, thinking that adding an area buff like last time should make the fight easy. He confidently declares that they should go and rescue the queen now. Jihe points forward with excitement as the pterodrones seem energized and ready for battle. One of the pterodrones glows brightly, ready to fight. Jihe arrives near the source of the dark energy, looking surprised. He confirms that this dark area was indeed the source of the ominous feeling he had earlier. The entrance to the devil ant hive, marked by massive purple crystal formations, is revealed. Jihe realizes this is where the devil ants live and is shocked by the sheer size of the hive entrance, estimating it to be at least 3 meters tall. Jihe walks forward, enveloped in the dark aura emanating from the hive. Inside, a large number of menacing devil ants with glowing red eyes are facing off against a group of pterodrones who are currently holding their ground. The intense energy from the devil ants is overwhelming the area. The pterodrones seem to be boosted by a protective golden aura, but the devil ants are still pushing them back. The war between the pterodrones and the devil ants has started, with a massive clash occurring at the front line. The devil ants are powerful, knocking back even the stronger-looking pterodrones. Jihe observes that the pterodrones are fighting much better than last time, but he can still see they are in danger. One of the larger pterodrones looks defeated under the dark pressure, confirming Jihe's concern that they are still in danger. A system notification appears telling him he can assist them with his power one time, and the task is to put the winged devil ants on the ground with a strong slap costing 3 essence. Jihe wonders how he is supposed to use a single slap effectively. Jihe looks confused, reading the instruction about using a strong slap, and asks what? He rereads the instruction about using a slap and wonders about its application. He questions the usefulness of a single slap in such a large battle, wondering what he is supposed to achieve with it. Just then, he sees a devil ant that has wings emerging from the hive entrance. Jihe realizes that the winged one is present, calling out, "HM?" The system identifies it as a winged devil ant, which acts as the messenger and confirms that the devil ant army is trying to call their main army. Alarmed, Jihe exclaims that they have a messenger, but he remembers he can stop them from sending the message with his one-time use of a strong slap. He prepares to use his ability, focusing his energy. Jihe decides to go for it, yelling whatever. The winged devil ant flies forward, ready to send its signal. The winged devil ant flies directly into the path of the incoming attack. Jihe's hand comes down hard, connecting with the ant and sending debris flying. The impact is immense. Jihe is shown bracing himself after delivering the powerful blow, smoke or dust clearing around him. He is shown crouching slightly, having exerted himself with the action. With a satisfied smile, Jihe exclaims, "Gotcha." The story continues with a visit to a specific building. A woman with long red hair wonders if this building is the general store known for selling the solar apple. She observes that from the outside, it looks like any normal store, but she feels like there might be some secret hidden inside. She recalls that Seo Hyejin mentioned catching the man stalker after visiting this very place. With a determined smile, the red-haired woman decides she has to uncover that secret. She reaches out to open the door, ready to go inside. However, she is surprised to find that the door is locked. She notices that the sign clearly says open, making her wonder if the owners just stepped out to the restroom. She calls out to a man below, asking if they are open for business today. The man, sweeping the area, replies that he is not sure, saying the store hasn't been open since yesterday. He comments that the young man running the place is not open very often lately, sighing about young people lacking a professional mindset. The red-haired woman repeats the part about them being closed often and recalls hearing they are closed on weekends, but then thinks about the owner, Jihe, leading to a change of thought. She stands by the locked door, looking serious after realizing the store might be closed as expected, despite the sign. Suddenly, the shop sign starts to glow brightly, indicating something is happening. A feeling washes over her that something is definitely up. The scene then shifts, showing the title card for the manhwa, The Gardener in a Hunter World. The focus moves to a different character, a man with glasses who seems to be talking about a quantity. He asks if what he has done should be enough, looking down at a large, defeated ant creature. Meanwhile, other menacing ants with glowing red eyes are shown nearby. Then, some smaller, beetle-like creatures appear, glowing with power. These small, sturdy creatures look ready for action, flexing their large pincers. The beetle creatures rush forward powerfully toward the regular ants. After the sudden clash, the man with glasses sighs, realizing he somehow finished the task safely. He wonders if the queen ant is still inside the nest, while some small beetle figures gather around him. He is surrounded by the small, cute beetle figures and wonders about the fate of the queen ant. The man then looks up and says as he notices movement in the distance. He sees a group of the small beetle creatures carrying what looks like a stretcher, exclaiming that they rescued their queen. One of the rescued figures on the stretcher is clearly bandaged up. The man gently touches one of the small creatures reassuringly, telling them it's fine and they don't have to overwork themselves. He expresses his relief that the queen is fine. He crouches down to interact with one of the small beetle soldiers. The system pops up a notification about the Terradrone Queen pledging allegiance and offering a contract to sponsor the Terradrone Corps in exchange for receiving items and fulfilling requests. The system text suggests there is no need to hesitate as they can help each other out. The man smiles, seeming happy with the arrangement. Another system notification confirms the pledge of allegiance and that he can now sponsor the Corps more directly. The man looks up, recognizing the creature floating before him as the Terradrone General from before. The Terradrone General is shown in a bright, glowing display. A message appears stating evolution completed, and the man smiles broadly. He exclaims that it evolved, and a new title appears, Terradrone Warrior. He looks up at the evolved warrior with excitement. He observes that it certainly looks like a general now, and one of the little warriors seems to be confused with a huh. The man realizes that they are bringing a lot of resources, even though he told them he didn't need that much. He recalls that he would have been satisfied with just 10 essence and a bit of ether stone. Looking at piles of golden fruits brought by the tiny warriors, the man seems taken aback. He then turns his attention to the seeds the Terradrone General gave him. He examines the seeds, identifying one as a wild grape seed and the other as a tree fruit seed, wondering what the latter is. He decides he will find out once he grows it, even wondering aloud if a tree grows from a tree fruit seed. He decides that the forest will take care of the growth, and then thinks about building a cabin next. The man smiles, pleased with the results. The setting changes, and the narration states it is the next day in a certain dungeon. A dark, ominous purple sphere crackles with energy in the dungeon. A figure standing near the sphere asks their leader if they are sure the queen ant is there. The person replies that they would be crazy to enter the devil ant dungeon otherwise, and they expect to earn a lot of money if they rob the nest properly. Other people in armor look confused, asking their leader what is going on, since the quest has already been cleared. The leader angrily asks what they mean, insisting the dungeon just opened. The other members of the group look surprised and worried. The leader curses and then points towards a massive, ominous rock formation, asking if it's empty. The group looks around the area, realizing the nest might be empty. One of the members asks if it's possible the dungeon was cleared in a different region. The leader angrily reminds him that a cleared dungeon cannot open a second time, saying he must check it out himself. Another member confirms that there was indeed an attack, as he cannot see any live ants. The leader yells at him to stop the nonsense and find traces of the ants, while another member asks if they are all gone. A team member frantically points at the ground, yelling to their leader about the ground. The leader looks down in horror at a massive handprint embedded in the ground, marked by an exclamation. The scale of the print is enormous compared to the small figures of the people nearby. The group stares in shock at the massive disturbance. One of them stammers, asking if that is a palm, possibly belonging to a giant, and realizing it should be at the destruction level if it's a monster. The leader yells for everyone to retreat. The leader quickly turns and runs away, ignoring his subordinate's calls. The subordinate questions if the leader thinks he can fight a monster that annihilated the devil ants. He warns that if they are not careful, they will be killed without being able to do anything, and suggests they retreat first and contact the association. The rest of the group quickly agrees and retreats into the darkness. The scene shifts back to an office where the image of the giant's handprint is displayed on a laptop screen, and someone murmurs hum. A suited man sits at a desk looking at the report, and asks if this image was discovered at the devil ant's nest. The assistant confirms that it was, and that the dungeon was already cleared. The man instructs him to report if anything else comes up. The seated man is identified as Goryeo Group's successor, Kim Hyam-suk. Kim Hyam-suk understands the report and begins to think about the giant palm, concluding it is not an ordinary monster. He reasons that it is too big to be a new species, meaning it must be a mythic grade monster he doesn't know about. A dramatic scene shows a huge, fiery dragon-like monster fighting with another dark-colored creature. Kim Hyun-suk wonders aloud if a monster above the destruction gray has appeared again. He states that strange things keep happening. He then thinks about that terrible thing and looks out the window. He stands by the window, deep in thought. Kim Hyun-suk resolves that such a terrible thing must not happen again, as the scene shifts back to the man with glasses from before, who thanks someone. The story starts in Seoul, Area No. 5, showing a big modern building complex area. A man with glasses looks surprised as someone calls his name, Jiha. A happy woman with glasses waves, asking if he waited long. The woman walks towards him excitedly, holding a book, her smile wide. The man tells her she should have just gone inside, apologizing, but she says she is okay and warns him not to run or he might trip. Despite the warning, the woman runs and instantly trips, falling down with a loud sound, and the man just sighs, thinking, "I knew it." The man quickly helps her up and asks if she is okay, and she immediately reassures him that the book she was holding is safe. The man says that was not what he meant, and the narration introduces the clumsy girl as Hwang Sunyeon, South Korea's only origami hunter. Sunyeon laughs, saying it has been a while since she worked out and forgot how to walk, adding that she is also an insane bookworm, which is how they became close friends. Moving on, the man asked Sunyeon if she ate breakfast as Jumi asked him to give her something. Sunyeon asks if he waited to give her the food and says it smells nice, thanking him. The man tells her to take a book he brought, which she looks at with a puzzled sound. Sunyeon explains that when she went to the store, the manager was sad because people kept buying the book only for decoration and then asking for a refund. The man asks if she bought one, and Sunyeon replies yes, thinking it would look good as decoration in her store. The man holds the book and remarks that a book that is constantly refunded is a bit scary, making Sunyeon question what he means. The book glows brightly as he holds it. Suddenly, a system notification appears, stating he acquired the infinite spellbook, and it further explains that to write a spell, he needs a thunderbird's feather and various ink. The man wonders about the infinite spellbook. The man asks Sunyeon if she is sure the book is just a decoration since he couldn't write anything in it. Sunyeon confirms she is not sure, saying there was nothing written inside, and she tried writing but couldn't, which is probably why the manager called it a decoration. The man realizes that because he couldn't write anything, he got the message about the requirements just now. He thinks Sunyeon did not get the message about its true nature and apologizes if she doesn't like the gift. Sunyeon is happy, saying she likes it and asking if he is serious, promising to use it wisely. The man smiles widely, holding the book tightly, clearly pleased with the new acquisition. This is a title card showing the manhwa name in Korean characters, the gardener in a hunter world. The man tries writing in a different notebook with a pen, making scratching sounds, but expresses that he actually cannot write anything. He looks confused in his shop environment, explaining that the infinite spellbook requires the thunderbird's feather and ink, and while he can find info on the thunderbird, there's a problem. A system window pops up describing the thunderbird, a colossal avian creature, rare, with a 25-meter wingspan, found in desolate terrains except polar oceans, and the man reacts with a drawn-out sigh. He wonders if he has to hunt this bird for the feather, thinking about how he is supposed to hunt a bird that big, and seeing the info about failed capture attempts. He sadly concludes that he will end up using the book as a mere decoration now and sighs while leaning on the table over the empty book. As he touches the book, a notification pops up. He acquired the skill Nice Handwriting LV.1. Another notification appears, stating he acquired the skill Ancient Magic LV.1, and the man looks up, surprised by these new traits. He questions the new trait, Nice Handwriting, and admits he doesn't feel anything different yet. He thinks getting this trait now cannot be a coincidence and decides to try everything he can. He starts writing in a separate paper with a pen, making scratching sounds. The system flashes Nice Handwriting LV.2, and the man notes that after getting this trait, he tried a few things. The writing on the paper describes the thunderbird and failed attempts to capture it. He exclaims that the skill leveled up, and he found 2 things out about the new trait. He is seen thinking while looking around his shop shelves. He states the first thing he found out, he still cannot write anything in the infinite spellbook, even with the Nice Handwriting trait. He continues, saying the second thing is that his handwriting gets really pretty. The paper is shown again with the Thunderbird info, and the man thinks this trait is amazing in a way, especially since he used to have pretty bad handwriting. He recalls his old bad handwriting while looking at his hand holding the pen, and then a sudden dark aura appears around him. He looks shocked and disturbed by the sudden dark energy. He wonders what that was and if it could be a gate opening. He rushes toward the door as a dark purple energy surrounds the area. A dark, swirling gate appears, crackling with purple energy, and the man stares at it. A system window pops up with details for a quest. Difficulty rank 0. Type Grasslands Valley. Target Thunderbird's Feather. Time limit 1 hour. Target restriction Laborer. The man is shocked, exclaiming there is no way it's straight to the Thunderbird's place, and wonders if his nice handwriting trait affected something. He notes the aura seems dangerous, but since it's rank 0, it should be fine, and resolves to just go in and out quickly. He passes through the gate and the scene changes to a bright, watery, lush green area with falling sparkling light. He arrives and says, "I'm looking around in awe." He questions if this is the Thunderbird's habitat because it doesn't seem right for such a giant bird. A sudden sound effect is heard, and the man looks startled. A massive, dark blue bird creature with glowing red eyes descends rapidly. The man stumbles back in shock, shouting that it's the Thunderbird. The man's feet are shown on the ground as the giant creature hovers overhead. A close-up of the massive Thunderbird, dark blue with intimidating features, is shown. He screams, realizing how huge the bird is, saying it's the size of a building. He panics, asking how he is supposed to hunt that, but then something falls near him. He wonders how several large, blue feathers drift down around him, and the Thunderbird seems to be flying away. He realizes the bird is leaving and understands that he just has to pick up a feather from the ground. He holds up the acquired Thunderbird's feather and exclaims, "Wow, it's this easy?" He is happy that the feather part is done and now needs ink. He thinks to himself that he thought of something for the ink. A small, cute beetle-like creature appears, holding a container of glowing green liquid, which is labeled green herb extract. The man expresses relief, saying he found it so fast that it's good. He asked his friend and thanks the creature. He then looks thoughtful, saying okay, the preparation is over, and the last thing is solving the mystery of the infinite spellbook. He sits down in the natural setting, holding the feather as a writing tool and the book ready, wondering what kind of spell is in this book. He decides he will discover it himself. He dips the feather into the green extract and begins to write on the book, which glows brilliantly as the ink touches the page. Bright yellow magical runes flash across the dark background as he writes. The man looks up, standing amidst the powerful glowing runes that cover the air in a nearby tree. The light from the spell is incredibly bright, shining down on him and the surrounding forest. He stands there, bathed in the intense yellow light of the spell being cast. The magic fades a bit, revealing the forest setting again, but still glowing faintly. The light subsides and the man looks towards a large tree trunk that seems to have been affected by the spell. He looks at the tree trunk, which now has glowing yellow markings on it. He mutters, "This is looking surprised at the markings." The markings on the tree glow brightly, and he looks stunned. He realizes the writing on the tree looks like ancient script, saying, "Runeword." The man remembers seeing something in an old book about the world tree teaching the ancient tribe 4 magic spells: creation, harmony, change, and destruction. These 4 spells, originating from the world tree, were very powerful. The 4 main spells were creation, harmony, change, and destruction. But because these ancient magic spells were hard to control, people found an easier way by creating runewords. He mentions that the world tree of the beginning taught them these magic spells. However, since ancient magic was hard to use, they made runewords as a shortcut, but the man never heard about runewords before. He starts wondering if someone is trying to use these runewords right now, as he looks down at something. Suddenly, a bright light appears and a large rune symbol shines in front of him. He realizes with shock that these glowing writings on the stone are indeed runewords. The man recalls that runewords appear after fulfilling certain conditions to use a spellbook. He then questions why the runewords are engraved on the tree instead of being in a spellbook, and then thinks that tree looks familiar. He realizes that the tree is just a small branch he planted when he first arrived at the Dream Forest, making him doubt if it could really be the world tree. Since he doesn't know how long the runewords will stay, he decides to write them down, wondering if writing them exactly as they are will work. Even though it's his first time seeing them, he suddenly understands what the runewords mean. The meaning he understands is related to destruction and how a flame will set everything on fire. This section seems to be a title card for the manhwa, the gardener in a hunter world, followed by the sound of writing. He happily writes down all of them, noting that the phrase associated with the first scroll is quite brutal, and then a new item appears, Scroll of Change, Destruction. This scroll increases the destruction power of rune magic, leading the man to realize that writing the rune words turns them into scrolls. He then thinks that since it's a scroll, he will probably have to tear it to use it. The resulting scroll looks really cool when he holds the rolled up paper. He thinks about writing 99 more, but then stops, noticing something with surprise. The open book on the table glows brightly, showing that it got restored. He excitedly concludes that it is truly an infinite spellbook and he can keep writing in it. He figures that as long as he has enough ink, he can write scrolls to his heart's content, but he still doesn't know the effect of this specific scroll. The scroll only says it increases the destruction power of rune magic, and since he is not a magician, he cannot test it out himself, but he can ask a magician to check it later. The scene shifts to a woman with red hair approaching the man, asking if he is Hunter Uchiha. Uchiha confirms that he is indeed Hunter Uchiha. The woman expresses relief, saying she finally met him, and then steps closer. She aggressively points out that he is someone very difficult to meet, and asks if he knows how many times she came just to find someone like Hyjin SSI, presumably the name associated with the shop. Uchiha apologizes, explaining that due to personal reasons, the shop is often empty. The woman identifies him as Hunter Uchiha and mentally notes that, as expected, he doesn't look special, just like Chaleon SSI said. Uchiha feels a bit unnerved by her intense staring, but then reminds himself that his real purpose is not him, but the items he sells. He thinks about the items the shop sells. He quickly dismisses his thought about the items and apologizes again, saying it was thoughtless of him to mention the shop's circumstances. The woman introduces herself as Cha Hwayan, the guild leader of the Eternal Flame Guild. She hands him a card and states that she heard he sells special items in this general store. Uchiha seems taken aback, and Cha Hwayan asks if she is referring to the famous solar apple potions or the winter strawberry potions. Uchiha is surprised she knows about the items and confirms it, agreeing those items are very famous right now. She then says that since he mentioned visiting several times in vain, she'd like to give her something on the house, and he squats down in surprise. Uchiha wonders why she's offering free items when getting those items was not supposed to be easy, and Cha Hwayan suddenly looks upset, muttering something about a customer. Cha Hwayan quickly retracts her offer, saying, "I'm really sorry, but we are out of stock," making Uchiha look confused. She explains that she was complacent and didn't pay attention to her main job due to an incident involving the Turkadrones or the Infinite Spellbook. She asks Uchiha if he is really the owner of a general store since he has run out of stock, but he assures her that if she comes back tomorrow, he will prepare everything she wants to buy. Uchiha apologizes again, and Cha Hwayan is internally conflicted, wondering if he is kind or just dumb because he looks so regretful. She sighs, accepting that she has no other choice since they are out of stock, and agrees to come back tomorrow, though she wanted to try something out in the dungeon later. As she turns to leave, Uchiha suddenly calls out, asking if she is the guild leader of Eternal Flame and if she is a flame magician. When she confirms she is, he says, "Ah, perfect," and offers her something. She is handed a scroll and asks if it is a scroll. Uchiha explains it is a sample flame attribute scroll he made yesterday and gives it to her for free so she doesn't leave empty-handed after her frustrating visit. She agrees not to refuse a free gift and begins to activate the scroll. The scroll unleashes massive flames, and Cha Hwayan smiles, ready to use the spell. "Thy flame will set everything on fire." She likes the phrase of the spell, says goodbye, and he wishes her well. Uchiha watches her leave and suddenly wonders about the staff she was holding, questioning if it originally shone like that. He wonders if the staff originally had that much glow. The scene focuses on the departing red-haired woman. The scene shifts to a very foggy, light area. The view settles on the entrance of the spider dungeon. A voice announces that the sentinel spider has been defeated and tells the team to move forward while watching their backs. A massive burst of fire hits a large spider creature, which cries out in pain. Cha Hwayan commands the team to get ready to enter the center. She feels strange as her power feels stronger than usual and notices that even the rune stone on her staff is acting strangely. She wonders if she is the only one who feels it, but even the rune stone on her staff is running rampant with energy. A subordinate yells a warning to the guild leader to watch out. Purple energy seems to erupt around Cha Hwayan as she is caught in some kind of effect. A team member checks on her, asking if she is alright after the strange attack. He assures him she is fine, but points out that there are more enemies than what the report stated. The image shows many glowing red symbols appearing in the dark background around her. She confirms she is not mistaken about the increased number of enemies, but the subordinate apologizes, blaming the variables in a forest-type dungeon and suggests retreating. Cha Huan firmly refuses to retreat and says she will keep going no matter what, ignoring her subordinates' worry about her overdoing it. Surrounded by intense orange fire, she confidently tells them not to worry because she feels she can do anything in her current state. She raises her staff amidst a dazzling display of fire and magical runes, ready to fight. The magical circle and intense flames surround her as she prepares a powerful attack. She warns everyone to stand back unless they want to get swept up in the upcoming blast. A huge fiery attack is unleashed downwards. The fire consumes everything in a blinding, intense light. Guild leader stands tall amidst the inferno. The enemies are completely engulfed and destroyed by the powerful flames. More destruction is shown as the enemies are wiped out by the intense rune magic. Her team members excitedly ask how much she leveled up her skill, exclaiming that at this rate she will sweep away the entire dungeon. Cha Huan looks stunned and speechless, thinking, no way. This much power as her team cheers. She has a sudden realization and thinks, don't tell me. Her hands are shown holding the scroll Yujia gave her, leading her to ask, is it because of that scroll? The person finished preparing the potions, putting the solar apple potions and winter strawberry potions into a wooden crate, thinking it should be enough. He had prepared both the solar apple potions and the winter strawberry potions for Huan SSI, who was supposed to arrive early in the morning. All that was left was to pack everything up until Huan SSI came, hoping to finish quickly since she said she would be here early. Just as he finished, a bell rang, signaling someone's arrival. He greeted Huan SSI, telling her he was packing the potion she asked for yesterday. Huan SSI noticed he was not alone and identified the person next to him as Hunter Yujia and asked if the talk about potions could wait. Yujia wanted to talk for a bit first, suggesting they talk about the potions later. The other person looked confused with a question mark floating near him as the scene seemed to transition. Suddenly, a briefcase full of glowing money appeared, making the man ask in surprise, what is this? Huan asked him what he thought it was, and when he didn't answer, she stated it was money, asking if he was the type who didn't care for it. She then suggested there was a reason he was selling potions cheap before. The man quickly denied not liking money, but explained he was just flustered by the sudden large sum of cash being given to him. He then mentioned that the scroll she gave him yesterday had amazing effects, being grade A, or even better than grade S. Getting that cheat grade scroll for free made him flustered about receiving such a large sum of money all at once, which didn't sit right with him. The guild leader understood his hesitation and noted that the infinite scroll was indeed an excellent item, offering to wire the money if cash made him uncomfortable. The man, however, looked grateful but insisted he had no right to accept the money, as the scroll was meant as an apology for making her wait. The guild leader was surprised and repeated what? As the man insisted he wasn't honorable enough to take that much money. The man thought to himself that whatever the result, he gave the scroll to test out the unproven item. The guild leader then addressed GSSI, warning him that it only takes a moment for a good person to become a foolish one, to which the other man, likely an associate, called out G-guild leader. The leader then told Jia to think about it, illustrating with a goose laying golden eggs. She asked what would happen if the goose that lays golden eggs gave them away for free to everyone, leading the man to innocently ask if it would become a world where everyone is rich. The leader quickly corrected him, saying of course not. She explained that surely the fact of this powerful item would spread to the public. This would make the goose a target for many hunters, showing a graphic image of a monster being attacked, and asked if he understood how amazing yet dangerous his abilities were in the hunter world. Yujia quickly agreed, saying why yes. I understand, as the guild leader got up from her seat. Jiha repeated an offer as the guild leader stood, ready to lay out her proposal. The guild leader's aura flared with intense red energy as she called out to Jiha Sasai. She asked if he would like to join the Eternal Flame Guild, which surprised Jiha, making him ask if it was that sudden. She explained that while she said some negative things earlier because she was worried about him, she wanted to show him that their guild is conscientious and won't betray him. The reason she brought the cash was to prove they reward abilities appropriately. She pointed out that Eternal Flame is a large guild known for good welfare, showing a view of tall buildings. Yujia smiled faintly, saying she didn't need to go this far just to prove herself. She replied that she wanted to show him that such a famous and good guild would be very favorable towards him. She then introduced the man with glasses as Cholhian SSI, their chief alchemist, mentioning that Eternal Flame has many skilled magicians and some alchemists too. She continued, saying that besides the facilities, he would have many chances to research together with skilled alchemists like Cholhian SSI. She added that of course, the salary and allowances would be tailored to his wishes as much as possible. She even offered him the authority to be a chief or higher, asking him to please join them, Hunter Uchiha, but he just thanked her for saying that. He then smiled and said he would just accept the gesture, implying he would decline the offer. The guild leader's companion quickly jumped in, telling her to hurry and prepare the contract, but the guild leader stopped him, shocked, asking, "Wait, you'll just accept the gesture?" She reacted with disbelief, exclaiming, "Why? Aren't these such generous terms?" Jiha calmly explained, just like she said, the offer was too much for him, so he thought it would be better for people more capable than him to join. The guild leader's associate tried to calm her down, telling her to stop putting herself down like that, which frustrated her. Uchiha then explained that he was originally a lowest-rank hunter with no attributes at all. He said that the fact he could make these special items was not because of his abilities, but due to luck and an amazing friend. He showed a vision of small owl-like creatures near crystals, implying his connection to them. He continued that his abilities might disappear someday, so he has no confidence in doing great things with them. Furthermore, he admitted he was too attached to his current place to leave it, making the guild leader look a bit crestfallen. The associate told the guild leader that it seemed difficult to change Hunter Uchiha's mind, suggesting they stop and respect his wishes. The man who was rejected acknowledged their advice, saying he wouldn't forget it and would be careful. Then, he cheekily stated he would charge a bit more for the potions Uchiha reserved yesterday. The guild leader muttered that anyone would think she was making him do bad things, but accepted that it felt like getting dumped, though she had no choice. She warned him in return not to regret it if he falls into a dangerous situation later. Uchiha smiled, telling her not to worry, and confidently said if a dangerous situation came, this brat here will let me know first. This statement was linked to a beautiful, glowing flower plant in a pot. A description explained that the plant, a humming bell, makes a sound when a worker is in danger. The narrator then reflected that ever since the gates appeared, spending a daily life with nature disappeared, because both the sea and the beach have been taken over by monsters, and it is hard to find a safe place even in mountains or valleys. The scene showed monstrous crustaceans and insects taking over the water. However, he said that here, in the dream forest, he could enjoy such a scenery. He was enjoying the beautiful blue sea and sky. He sighed, finding the sea so soothing, and remarked that the sea is the best for headaches. He mentioned he thought the dream forest only had forests, but seeing the sea here, he wondered if this place was more like paradise on earth. He admitted he was going to focus on the general store but felt exhausted from interacting with people all morning as the guild leader, now surrounded by fire aura, called out to him to join. He questioned if this meant he was disqualified from being a general store owner, before declaring he would heal himself by evening in this beautiful spot, planning to eat and read a lot. He was exhausted from dealing with people today, so he spent time alone in the dream forest. As he sat by a campfire surrounded by magical books, he realized something. He acknowledged that there was a part that he overlooked. He stated that anytime, anywhere, unexpected guests would come. The final image showed a small, white, spotted cat sleeping soundly curled up on his leg. 2 hours ago, a man sat calmly reading his book near a fire. He felt really nice and quiet sitting there. He thought about how hard it is to go near the sea now, unlike in the past, because the seas are not safe for people anymore. Listening to the waves now is a big piece of luck for him. He wished he could bring Sunho Hyum or Sunyoung Nuna next time to hear the waves too. He was so happy with his thoughts of bringing friends later. Suddenly, he heard a strange sound like a cat, but a bit different. He wondered if the sound was more like a big wild beast similar to a lion or a tiger, but it was quiet. Because the humming sound was quiet, he figured it must not be dangerous. As he reached for some glowing yellow flowers, the sound got louder and a small, bug-like creature appeared, startling him. The man yelled out in surprise when he saw the flying insect thing, which was a pterodrone. He realized the sound was getting much closer and quickly moved towards it. He rushed over and found a creature lying on its back on the ground. He exclaimed that he finally found it. The creature was revealed to be an actus, but it was much too big to be called just a cat. The man looked worried as he held the actus because its condition was not looking good at all. He wondered if giving it a potion would be okay. Just then, a small bug creature landed on his arm, distracting him for a moment. He apologized, realizing he had forgotten about the other creature while focusing on the injured one. A group of bug creatures seemed to be offering some fish, which he recognized as food for the cat-like actus. He asked if they were taking care of the actus's food, showing appreciation to the little bugs. He praised them and promised to bring lots of yummy food next time he visited the forest. And the story jumped back to the present, where the man looked at fish bones and an empty potion bottle next to him. He sighed with relief, happy that the potion worked well on the actus. The creature had been shivering before, but now it was sleeping soundly, making him feel it should be fine. He then became curious about something. He thought about how he hadn't explored the whole dream forest, and this was the first time he saw animals here. He then softly asked the sleeping actus where it came from. The creature woke up and let out a small meow as the man petted it. The man worried he woke the little creature up with the sound of the fire. The actus let out a soft, purring sound while enjoying the gentle petting. The man exclaimed how cute the actus was and wondered if this was the legendary being chosen thing he had heard about. He happily picked up the actus, which looked very content, and felt a wave of joy. He pondered what to call the creature, deciding actus wasn't cute enough and he needed a better name. Since it looked a bit like a tiger, he decided to call it Bam, which means tiger in Korean. He then invited Bam to come with him if it had nowhere else to go. The actus let out a small meow in response. The man looked lovingly at the small, snow leopard-like creature in his arms. The chapter title card for the gardener in a hunter world appeared briefly. Back in what seemed to be a store, another woman exclaimed how cute the animal was. The man, still holding the actus, smiled as others commented on how cute the animal looked, even mentioning its eyes. Someone asked if the creature was a snow leopard and where he got it from, to which he replied he found it in a dungeon and brought it home because it looked lost. The little creature let out a happy sound as it enjoyed the attention. The man introduced the creature as Bam, and a woman asked if she could pet Bam. Bam reacted strongly to the woman's approach with a loud meow. The woman yelped in pain, saying ouch. The man immediately checked on her, asking if she was okay. She admitted her hand hurt but said it was fine, apologizing that Bam was a bit shy. The man gently scolded Bam, saying it shouldn't act like that, and noted that Bam was only this kind to him. He thought that since Bam was shy, keeping it in the store might not be a good idea, but he couldn't just leave it alone at home either. He then happily thought that he wanted to boast about how cute Bam was. Suddenly, a woman in full armor entered the shop, and the man greeted her, saying, "Welcome, Tilda." He greeted Hyjin SSI and mentioned he was just stopping by because he had some business nearby. As Hyjin started to offer him coffee, Bam looked at her curiously. Hyjin got scared, grabbing onto a nearby wooden rack when the small creature approached her. The man explained that the creature's name was Bam and that it was a tiger, which made Hyjin pause. The man realized that Hyjin SSI was scared of something. He then offered her some coffee. Hyjin was surprised that he was giving her the coffee. As Bam walked towards her, she got even more scared and backed away, asking what the wild beast was doing. The man apologized for Hyjin's fear, saying Bam would live with him now, and asked Bam to get down. The man looked surprised when Hyjin seemed to hesitate about petting Bam. Hyjin noticed Bam acting cute and asked if it was asking for pets, while she wondered if she should pet it. She nervously reached out to pet the creature. As she petted Bam, she exclaimed how soft it was, realizing it was a gentle tiger, despite its name. Hyjin smiled slightly, observing Bam, noting that it was only a tiger in name. She then asked the man if it was true that he gave out free buff scrolls, mentioning that the hunter net was in an uproar over it. She continued, saying that even the guild leader of Eternal Flame came by the other day, surprised that he would give away scrolls worth millions. Hyjin wondered if he was too ambitious or just clueless. She concluded, though, that he was living genuinely, without greed, making others feel comfortable, and questioned if that was why she often visited his store. The man smiled warmly, holding the sleepy Bam, and told him his clothes would stretch, showing he didn't mind the creature growing. Suddenly, the potted yellow flowers reacted strongly to something. The man looked confused and asked what was wrong with the humming bells. He suddenly heard a loud, sharp warning signal blare throughout the area. Hyjin looked up in shock as an alert blared for a Type 4 catastrophe warning, telling nearby residents to evacuate immediately. Hyjin shouted an urgent command to evacuate at once, her expression fierce. She urged everyone to hurry and leave immediately. The man stood there stunned, still holding the unbothered Bam. The military guys told everyone to move quickly and guide the people to safety because the hunters were arriving. A man holding a white, spotted cat looked worried as the crowd urged everyone to move fast. Someone realized they were dealing with a Category 4 dungeon catastrophe, which meant strong hunters would be needed. The man hoped that the hunters would be able to stop whatever was happening. He tried to reassure the cat, saying, it's fine, nothing will happen." Suddenly, a loud sound happened, and the man looked shocked as a huge noise erupted below. People started panicking, shouting for their mothers, while the man knelt down, still clutching the cat. The man wondered if it was too soon to feel relieved, looking around at the chaos. The cat made a small sound, and the man calmly told the cat, "It's fine, bam." Kept telling himself that whatever was happening, it must be nothing. The focus shifted to the man, standing firmly while holding his fluffy, white cat named Bam. This section showed the title card for the manhwa, which is the gardener in a hunter world. Then, the mood changed completely to a dark scene labeled Catastrophe with purple energy destroying buildings. A massive, dark, swirling being appeared amidst the intense purple energy, signifying a major crisis. A crisis starts when hunters fail their quest in a dungeon, but low difficulty ones are usually okay. However, the situation is very different when a rank 4 or higher dungeon has a catastrophe requiring full evacuation within a 20 km radius. This evacuation was supposed to happen alongside military operations and deploying armored forces near the gate. Soldiers lined up with their rifles ready, and then a group of high-ranking hunters was shown, ready for action. Dark-haired hunter in the lead looked grimly ahead and said, "They're coming." The scene showed dark purple energy cracking and splitting the area as something powerful approached. Vivid purple shadows and glowing skulls with red eyes started emerging from the dark energy. More menacing skeletons wrapped in purple energy appeared, their red eyes glowing fiercely. The menacing skeletal figures seemed to be closing in, crackling with dark power. A soldier shouted the order, "Open fire." The soldier holding the radio confirmed the order, just as sounds of heavy firing started. The soldiers opened fire from elevated positions, with intense flashes showing their bullets hitting something. Missiles were prepared, indicating that they were about to escalate the firepower. Fighter jets streaked across the sky, unleashing powerful attacks that caused huge explosions in the city below. The explosions engulfed the undead creatures, showing large skeletons being hit by massive fire. More intense fire and debris flew everywhere from the massive blasts. A soldier realized the undead dungeon attack had failed as he stood near the raging fire. Another man, looking calmer, noted that even with all that firepower, the fight would end soon. He decided he would need to slip away right after dealing with the remaining monsters and the curse-using liches. The first soldier acknowledged the order, while the man in the suit confirmed the plan to focus fire on the gate. The focus shifted back to the intense purple power surrounding a huge hand with sharp claws, ready to strike. A gigantic, ugly-faced being with glowing red eyes and large tusks emerged, surrounded by the dark aura. The suited man gasped, realizing the true nature of the threat. "That's a monstrous being." He urgently told the soldiers to focus all their firepower on that monster, and one soldier acknowledged the command. The soldier yelled the order again, "Open fire." Into his radio, the troops unleashed everything they had, resulting in massive explosions hitting the area around the monster. The ground shook, and large chunks of debris flew up as the intense attack hammered the target area. One of the undead creatures was struck hard by a sword or powerful beam, letting out a pained sound. A blinding flash of light showed the attack was having an effect. Someone exclaimed that the attack was working, and the ground troops cheered to keep up the attack. The suited man realized that this monstrous being was a disaster rank, and even all that attack won't even leave a scratch on it. The massive monster looked down with a confident, menacing grin, undeterred by the attack. The monster seemed to declare that there were dangerous enemies and that it must kill. Its massive claw smashed down, causing further destruction as the sound of impact echoed. The monster glowed with red energy, roaring about its dangerous enemies. The suited man yelled in alarm, "Damn it! It's coming this way!" As the monster charged towards the evacuation area, he shouted for everyone to dodge, but then noticed the monster seemed to pass right by them. He wondered why it wasn't attacking them directly, then realized the monster's real target. The man shouted that the monster's real goal is the shelter. As a shot showed the massive creature descending onto the dome-like shelter, the huge, bulky monster landed hard on top of the shelter structure, surrounded by a red aura. Just as it landed, someone stated, "Who says," and an intense blue light appeared. A fierce female warrior launched herself through the air, surrounded by glowing energy swords, telling people to get to the shelter. The warrior, holding a sword, struck the shelter dome right where the monster landed, creating a massive impact and summoning many light swords around her, using an ability called Powerful Sword Rampage. Intense blue light beams shot out everywhere as the attack made contact with the monster. The dark-haired female warrior stood ready, preparing for the impact or follow-up attack. The red-haired warrior shouted for everyone to stand back as she prepared her own move near a huge fireball. She yelled "Ha!" while unleashing a massive orange-yellow flame attack with her staff or weapon. The red-haired warrior pushed all her strength into her fiery attack. The sound of her fire attack echoed as it connected with the enemy, causing another huge blast. The fire attack hit hard, but the monster was still standing, making the observers question if it was even flinching. The dark-haired hunter explained in disbelief, "It's not even turning back." Looking shocked alongside her red-haired companion, the two female hunters looked extremely worried as the monster seemed completely unfazed by the combined assault. The monster let out a massive roar, radiating overwhelming power as it seemed to absorb or ignore the attacks. The monster's impact onto the shelter caused the dome structure to break apart violently, sending debris flying. The red-haired hunter noticed the danger was getting too close to the shelter where the civilians were. She argued with the dark-haired hunter, asking if they should just let the people inside die, reminding her that GSSI and others were in the shelter. The giant monster appeared above the ruins, declaring, "Found you, our enemy." The monster looked down upon the group, while the man with the cat stood firm amidst the fleeing civilians. The man with the cat looked up in horror, realizing the shelter has been breached. Is the situation outside not looking good? He felt paralyzed, thinking, "I must run away, but my legs won't move," and begged his legs to move. Just as he thought the monsters were moving in, he had a sudden thought, this isn't IT though." The giant monster lunged down toward the man and the cat, but the man managed to jump away just in time. Little white cat, Bam, looked up with wide, determined blue eyes. A burst of incredibly bright, cool blue energy erupted, pushing back the massive creature. The monster was hit hard by this new blue energy attack and seemed stunned or hurt. Debris flew around as the man, still holding Bam, looked confused and asked, "Be Bam?" The little cat Bam was levitating slightly, surrounded by blue energy, facing down the monster, which was labeled a lowly demonic being. The monster looked panicked and distressed, realizing the strength of the little creature. A massive, spectral white tiger face roared with brilliant blue eyes, telling the monster to get lost. While the small Bam stood bravely below it, an overwhelming burst of white light shot upwards, dominating the scene. The dark-haired female hunter saw the massive amount of ether released and realized this was their chance while the enemy was momentarily frozen. She shouted to the monster, "Whatever it was, this is our chance when it's frozen," and unleashed a massive flame attack called Flame. The red-haired hunter cheered on the dark-haired one, saying, "I know, even when you don't say it," as she also attacked with fire. Intense yellow and orange flames engulfed the area as the two hunters struck. The fire attack hit the monster with tremendous force, indicated by the bright light and sound effects. The dark-haired hunter gripped her sword tightly during the powerful strike. She screamed out "Ha!" as she finished her powerful combination attack. More red-hot fire effects indicated the massive heat from the flames. The monster was engulfed in the fire sword rampant attack, looking severely damaged. The dark-haired hunter landed in a crouch amidst the glowing heat of her attack. The monster looked dazed and slightly crushed by the combined efforts. The dark-haired hunter recovered her stance, looking serious but relieved. She asked her companion, "Is it over?" The red-haired hunter shook her head, saying, "Not yet. I felt an enormous amount of ether inside, and then recognized the man. You're still here, GSSI." The camera showed the dust clearing around GSSI, who was still holding Bam. GSSI looked up, still holding the cat, who meowed softly as someone called out, "GSSI?"